And I just wanted to round off the sessions today by talking about your infrastructure. And the reason why I want to do that now is because often it is a quieter period for some businesses across the summer holidays. And you don't always have the normal people in doing their normal jobs. So it can be a very good time to do those tasks that never get done throughout the rest of the year. And your infrastructure, particularly your digital infrastructure, is absolutely critical to most businesses most of the time these days, particularly through the lockdown and people having to work from home. If we hadn't have had such a strong digital infrastructure, we would not have been able to keep businesses going in the way that we have done. So your digital footprint is a key part of your success as an organisation. And it's a good idea to review that digital footprint every year to make sure that it is still in line with what you expect it to be and what you need it to be. So by that, I mean looking at your equipment. So you will have PCs, you'll have printers, you will have other devices, you might have PDQ machines for taking credit card payments, you'll have routers, you might have Wi-Fi repeaters. There's a lot of equipment that you will have around your office and probably spread across into your home now. From an asset point of view, do you know where all your equipment is? So could you, if you needed to, pull out a list of everything that your business owns and who has that and where is it? So if somebody leaves your organisation, do you know what equipment you need to have back from them? So that's one side of it, but it also goes into the billing side of it. So your IT company, your managed services provider, will probably be charging you an amount per month for support. So some of that support may be for your hardware, so your server, your physical infrastructure. Some of it will be for your software and for your licenses. Some of it will be to keep you safe, so your cybersecurity and antivirus licenses. And some of it will be for your backups and your making sure that you're backing up all the data that you should be backing up. And it is worthwhile checking that all of these systems, all these parts of your digital infrastructure are where you think they are. So for example, if you look at backups, so if people have been working from home, have they been creating documents on their laptops or their desktop that's at home and not storing what is in essence business material, not storing it on a server where it's backed up? So does that pose a risk to you in your business if somebody's got a spreadsheet that perhaps has all your customer data on it, that's on a personal machine, or it's on a machine that's at home that's not backed up? What risk is that to you in your business? And this isn't about, I'm not saying it to try and get you to spend more money with managed service providers. I'm saying it because you need to understand the risk that you put your business in when you have data that is not in a controlled environment. So it's a risk from GDPR, it's a risk of being stolen, so it's an IP risk as well, but it's a risk of being lost. So if somebody's laptop dies and their hard disk is corrupt, what would you do? How would you get that data back? What's it used for? How important is it to your business? So to be able to assess the risk that sits around data is a very, very integral part, and it should be, of your business. Landlines come into this as well. You know, over the years, I've been to countless companies where they've not known what they're paying for when it comes to telephony. So they'll have analog lines, they might have digital lines. So some are for fax machines, some are for digital systems, some are for broadband. And in quite a few companies I've been to, they've been paying twice the amount that they should be because they've got two lots of lines that they didn't know existed. So they've got two broadband lines where they didn't need two broadband lines, or they haven't got enough because they haven't got a backup to their main broadband. So if that fails, then they can't operate. So it's worthwhile picking out all your telephony bills, picking out all the bills that you get from your IT companies, and just seeing, A, whether or not you still have that equipment. So don't pay for things that you haven't got because you might have replaced a laptop with a new one, or a desktop with a new one, or a printer with a new one. Don't be paying for the old one and the new one. So make sure you're paying for the right amount of equipment that you've got, but make sure that you've got everything covered. So backups, for example, how do you know what data is being backed up, and is that the data that should be backed up? So you might have a server, you might have a network area storage device, and you might find that your managed service provider is only backing up your server, or they're only backing up your network area storage device. So make sure you understand what people are doing for you when it comes to technology support, why they're doing it, so what's their strategy behind it, and how does that fit with your business strategy. And another aspect is mobiles. So, you know, mobile devices can be consumable, so you can break them and get a new one. They tend to get replaced every 2 or 3 years. What are you doing with those old mobile devices? If somebody leaves, are you cancelling their mobile contract, so you're not spending money on a device that actually is not in use at that point in time? It also extends to things like CCTV and alarm systems. So they sit on your digital infrastructure as well, because they're often needed to be inside your firewall, but open, so that people who are remote can get on and have a look at what's going on if your alarm goes off, for example. So bring into account your CCTV, your alarm system, your backups, your on-site infrastructure, your off-site infrastructure, so people who are working from home, remote sales engineers, other people like that that tend to work out in the field. What equipment have they got, and have you got that listed somewhere? Is that what's being paid for? Is that under support? Is that data being backed up? And there's a new term that's coming into the technology industry for billing, which is called consumption-based billing. So as more and more systems become cloud-based, cloud service providers are able to look at the amount of usage that you as a user have on their systems. So if, for example, you've got Xero and you go into Xero perhaps for an hour first thing every day, you're only using it for kind of like an 1/8 of your working day or a 1/7 of your working day. So consumption-based billing would mean that going forward, you would actually only pay for the amount of time that you use that application, and not for its availability 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, it's more conceptual than in practice right now, but that's the way that the technology industry is looking to go. And over the next sort of 1 to 5 years, we'll see a lot more companies who offer consumption-based billing on their systems, which will be a far more efficient way of paying for the services that we have in that digital arena. So that's just something to look at for the future. But for now, in August, when it is a little bit quieter, if you get a spare few hours, it is well worth. It's a pain in the backside and you're having to go back through paperwork, but it is well worth looking through the bills that you get from all of your digital service providers and making sure that that is what you are getting, and you are paying for all the services that you should be paying for and not paying for things outside of that. So it's just a good time to do that kind of infrastructure review.